CCTV surveillance in and out to ensure everything is being recorded, tracked. Surveillance is on 24/7. This cell is going to be guarded by the senior-most top NI officials, a team that has been deployed and designated. He's been kept in a 14/14 cell at the NI headquarters from where our colleagues are reporting from. There is a bed, there is an adjacent washroom as well, that there shouldn't be any need for this man to want a reason to step out of his cell. There will be a multi-layered security. 24-hour guards have been deployed as well, and he will be offered his share of food and items as well, because we also want to ensure that Tahavvur Rana answers, explains elaborately without making any other excuse right now. Gaurav Sawant and Amit Bhardwaj continue to be with us. Gaurav, I'll take that question first to you, because I understand that he's an important high security prisoner, but I also appreciate India in so many ways that they're ensuring that a full fair trial protocol is being followed, because this man shouldn't have another excuse to not cooperate now with the investigation and interrogation.
The world is watching. India and the United States have a very important extradition treaty. And that extradition treaty has certain conditions. And that conditions of those extradition treaty mandate that he be given a fair trial, he be given a hearing, he's looked after, and there are no fresh charges against him. He's not extradited to a third country in case there are fresh charges against him. The United States is kept in the loop. So there are several preconditions which have to be fulfilled. And remember, he's just one terrorist who's been extradited from the United States of America. There are other terrorists who are in different parts of the world. India wants them extradited. India wants them sent to India. That's why India has to ensure all global commitments are met, and India does meet all international commitments. The rogue country is Pakistan, that remains a state sponsor of radical Islamist terror. So that is where India wants global attention to be focused, because as far as terrorists within or the enemy within is concerned, they will take care of it. The security forces, whether it's in Mumbai, remember, German bakery was struck in Pune. That was a terror attack. Even after 26/11, there have been multiple terror attacks in India. You'd remember there was a terror attack in Gurdaspur, there was a terror attack in Samba, Kadwa, Udhampur, Pulwama, Pathankot. It was only after Pulwama in 2019, when Balakot airstrikes happened, that Pakistan realized that terror is no longer a low-cost option for them. And post Balakot, we haven't had a single 26/11 kind terror attack in the rest of the country. No Gurdaspur, no attack anywhere beyond Jammu and Kashmir. Now the aim is there should be no terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir either, and none across the country, so that in case there's a terror attack, the state sponsor of radical Islamist terror pays a very heavy cost. And India's effort is to build a cast iron case against Pakistan, so that Pakistan is once again back in the Financial Action Task Force grey list. That's the only language Pakistan understands. And entities in Pakistan, whether it's Hafiz Mohammed Saeed or elements in Pakistan Army, who may include General Ashfaq Parvez Kayani, the former DG ISI and former Army Chief, he is someone who knew of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks plot directly. Was he involved? Where is he? What action will be taken against such elements? That is what India's focus is. State actors in Pakistan should be punished.
Remember, India also ensuring that there will be a defense counsel, that this will be a fair trial. Amit, I come to you now. As we look at these images on our screens right now of people crying, innocents who were left orphaned, families destroyed on 26/11, and now at NI headquarters where you are standing right now, one of the big masterminds is here. Tell us about how fortified, high secured that zone is, primarily for a reason, if the viewer is wondering, because remember, there will be elements who will not want Tahavvur Rana to reveal what he's set to do.
Right, Pooja. I'll also request my VJ Manish to, pan the camera and to show as to how the entire stretch where this NIA office is located has been secured by the agencies, and multiple agencies are on task right now. So this is a very important lane which, as far as the government offices are concerned, and that is why you will see several layers of barricading which leads to this particular stretch, on which the JLN Stadium's Metro Stadium Metro's gate is also located, but access to that metro station gate is only to those who work in the nearby government offices. Now, right in front of you is the NIA's headquarters in the national capital. Obviously, nobody can enter that building without having authorized ID cards. Like this gentleman who just entered the complex would be an employee out there, and the CAPF has also secured the area. On the other side as well, from where the movement of the cars are happening, the senior officials, when you look at the SHO level officers or inspector level officers, they are personally standing on the barricades and checking every individual, every car that's coming this way. Their ID cards are being duly checked to ensure only those who have appropriate access to the buildings, government offices nearby are able to access this particular road. That itself gives an telling story as to how the preparations have been made and why not. The reason being that India has waited 17 years for this man to reach the Indian soil so that the Indian investigative agencies can probe him, can question him about as to how he arranged that logistical support for David Headley, who were the people behind him, who funded these missions from Pakistan, whether they were individuals from the ISI, the other